but a lot of guys are facing a whole different set of challenges now, as they're growing up and coming and coming of age and like stepping from boys into having to become men and figuring their life out. And a lot of us, we haven't had maybe examples or the certain type of guidance that we would have liked to become the men we want to be.
I think there's a possibility that could go back to like the whole like self-image thing, especially with those people who only hang out on like Discord or whatever. They never have their camera, they never show their face, and they have this whole facade they put on online. And then when they go out in public, it's like you can't put on this fake version of you because you're in public,
Ethan, who do you look up to?
Welcome to the Warrior's Way Home podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Great
kind
job.
of approaching from the outside, like a spectator who maybe has no ambition of getting in the ring or fighting or anything like that. I think one thing that anybody can take away from seeing a fighter go through the process is discipline. If they were to take that same discipline that a fighter has in their craft, in training day in and day out, trying to take care of their body, having to cut weight, having to make sure you get enough sleep, having to make sure you get the reps in, all of these different things, how disciplined a fighter has to be to get to their goal. If just the average man was to add that into his life, in just one aspect of his life, whether it be work or family or whatever it may be, if he was to just take 10% of that discipline that a fighter has, he will be successful in whatever he's doing. Mm-hmm. I truly believe that, because the amount of discipline, the amount of concentration it takes for guys to do what you're doing, Ethan. It takes almost an abnormal amount of focus to stay on path, to not get distracted by, especially being 18, man. I would have been so fucking distracted. I'm not even gonna lie. just women, just a woman walking by me would have been like, I'd have been getting punched in the face every time a girl walked by the window. Like, bow, fuck, damn. But just the amount of focus it takes to do what you're doing. If the average guy who never wanted to fight just added that into his life in just certain aspects, he would be successful in that. If you put that into work, if you put that into school, if he put that into his relationships, those things in his life would do nothing but elevate. I truly believe that. So I think even the things that we learn as fighters, the discipline, the ethics, the code of honor that we talk about so much. That's why we talk about so much, because it transfers over into the rest of your life. It's like, just like bad habits, bleed into the rest of your life. These things we pick up in martial arts and in fighting and combat, they bleed over into the rest of our lives in a lot of cases, or they can if we use it the right way.
That's like I saw this one interview with I think it was Tom Platz, the bodybuilder, after he retired, and he was talking about how he put that same amount of discipline that he put into bodybuilding into getting every single rep, and he put that into his new job. And just having that same mindset with the discipline and pushing through even when you don't want to in his job, he was able to skyrocket through the ranks and start making money or whatever. I'm not sure exactly how the interview went, but that's the best example I can find. Like, if fighting doesn't work out and I'm 30 and I got nothing going on, I'll put my discipline and I'll put it into school, and I'll put it into something else that I'm super interested in. And so I think that's something that I'm glad people can see that and feel inspired with seeing the discipline and stuff like that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So it makes it sound old even saying this, but nowadays, guys are facing a lot different challenges than even. I'm just thinking, like, even when I was your age, when I was 18, it's like the challenges I was facing are similar but different than the guys who are 18 now. It's like, because both Em and I can remember a time before, like I said, it makes me sound old as fuck. Before the internet and then having the internet, is like we've had both of those instincts. I was just talking to my mom the other day about back when they had pagers, which made me laugh. But a
Do
lot
you,
of
do
guys
you
are
know what a pager is, Ethan?
Like, I know of it. Okay, I was born in 2006. All right, so
he's like, I've seen one. I've seen one
Right.
on the
I've
internet,
seen one somewhere in
on
a
eBay.
museum.
But a lot of guys are facing a whole different set of challenges now, as they're growing up and coming and coming of age and like stepping from um, boys into having to become men and figuring their life out. And a lot of us, we haven't had maybe examples or the certain type of guidance that we would have liked to become the men we want to be. What would you say are some of the pitfalls that a lot of guys your age are like really kind of starting to face now? Because we talk about the red pill and how it's almost like a shift in society where it's like these two extremes. It's like it's either guys are trying to teach guys like, hey, this is how you pick up women, and you should have, you should be having spinning plates, 30 girlfriends, going on a date every night, and sleeping with all the women, and don't worry about what her name is. You're not gonna call her anyway. Um, and be that guy that walks around with his chest out and is ready to fight the drop of hat. Don't let anybody disrespect you. Punch everybody in the face, whatever it may be, and then you have the other side where it's like society almost wants men to be like women, like a masculine version, like a Mrs. Doubtfire type
Yeah.
situation. It's like a man in a woman's body type deal where it's don't be aggressive. All the things that we are as fighters. Don't be aggressive. Don't be that guy that kind of like really stands up for yourself and is forceful. Um, you know, doesn't allow people to disrespect him. Stands up for other people. A lot of the things that make guys are almost kind of more frowned upon in certain circles of the world now. Is like so. We talk about from our point of view, like some of the challenges that guys are facing now. What would you say are like some of the top challenges that you see, like some guys around your age range, like facing now, and what advice would you give them to kind of like avoid falling in those pitfalls?
I think the biggest thing right now is what I see with people my age is
Mm.
who they put themselves around.
Mm. Yeah.
And I'm very particular with who I put myself around and who I hang out with for a lot of reasons. But I think, a lot of people my age, they start getting into, partying or
Yeah.
girls especially. They let girls distract them. Or I don't know. I think because there's also this huge thing of like guys post on social media and they pretend to hate themselves, or they really do, and they post about their body dysmorphia and lifting because
Really?
it's like a
Huh.
whole thing where they post about like how small they are on social media and just like
Mm.
lifting whatever, and they put their self-image down for views on social media. And I think social media is a big part that's kind of affecting
That's a
some of
huge
these
landmine. Huge
people
land.
my age. Yeah. And so I was really scared to start with social media because I see all these posts about all these guys doing whatever. But I eventually started it, and I'm posting a lot more now and stuff. But
Question for you on that, on the dysmorphia. Do you think a lot of the guys who are posting that, are they doing it because a huge majority of the population post on social media not for themselves but to get attention?
mhm.
Do you think it's an attention seeking thing that they're doing that for, or is it something like they just have to have, because they don't have a group of guys that they can actually have these conversations with, these real conversations like, bro, I'm struggling with this thing. I don't like myself. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I feel. And actually having somebody to have those conversations with, so they just put it out on the internet, hoping that they get some kind of
Screaming into the void.
get something from, yeah, exactly, get
Mhm.
something from that, or do you think it's more of an attention thing for a lot of those guys?
I think it's a bit of both because
Okay.
there is the thing with like trends on social media where
Hmm.
it's trending to pretend like you hate yourself for views, but also there's the people who post it because they really want to find people who find it relatable and maybe they can help
Yeah.
them in whatever ways. but it usually just ends up being like a rabbit hole of, oh, it's cool to hate, to pretend to hate myself and drag my self image down, or whatever.
Almost a spiral, because you get attention because
Yeah.
you're doing that, so you do more of
Yep.
that, and you end up almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you didn't hate yourself before, you might end up actually hating yourself if you do that long enough.
Because I believe you speak in a truth with how you talk about yourself, and
Facts.
I always talk about myself positively, or I do my best to, at least. I've got everyone calling me fat at my gym when I'm cutting weight and stuff because I cheated one time on my cut, but but that'll always be jokes, and I know deep down that I'm not, and I am who I am.
Yeah.
And I always try and think positively, but I think that's what a lot of kids struggle with, is they struggle with how they put themselves in perspective with themselves and others. So yeah,
I would say a big piece of that is they say there's a loneliness epidemic that's kind of kicking up. You say that a lot of guys are probably lonelier than they've ever been before. I mean, because you mentioned a lot of one thing you mentioned was the people that the guys hang around with. Honestly, man, I don't see a lot of guys actually hanging out like in person together as much anymore. It almost seems like a lot online. Like maybe they get together and play video games, or different things like that, or they're in groups maybe online, or in Discord, or wherever they wherever they group up. But I don't see a lot of guys like even just out and about. I don't see a lot of guys in groups of guys. I don't see a lot. I see a lot of groups of women still, but I don't see a lot of groups of guys just hanging out in a lot of cases. Like, even when you go out to eat, or you go to the, Buffalo Wild Wings or whatever it may be, I used to see a lot of guys hanging out, watching the game, having beer, drinking, eating and stuff like that. I don't see a lot of that anymore. I'm also in some of those places, but
yeah, I think there's a possibility that could go back to like the whole like self-image thing, especially with those people who only hang out on like Discord or whatever. They never have their camera, they never show their face, and they have this whole facade they put on online. And then when they go out in public, it's like you can't put on this fake version of you because you're in public,
Yeah.
But also I think a lot of it is, a lot of people are very focused on a lot of different things right now, especially at my age, with trying to do school and stuff. I know me and my friends, we kind of haven't been able to hang out in a while because everyone's doing school, everyone's busy, everyone's got their things going on. But I do kind of agree, though. I feel like I see a lot less friend groups hanging out in public anymore, or doing whatever. So,
Ethan, who do you look up to?
It's okay to say me. It's okay.
I think you look up to me. All right.
Oh. Okay. All right.
Oh boy.
Just so you know, I don't fight fair. I cheap shot. I'll wait till you're not looking.
Oh my god!
Throw a ninja star at you.
That
was good. That was good. Touche, sir. Touche. Fuck, that was good.
I think there's a lot of people I look up to. I look up to my dad in the ways that he's helped me become. My dad, I think I get my level-headedness from my dad. I'll start with that. He inspires me to be a better person in the way that I'm level-headed and I'm always calm. He doesn't put his stress out on anyone, but he's also able to vocalize how he's feeling and all that. But then I have the people I look up to in my gym. My coach, I look up to him like he's like my second dad. I've got Mario, who's like a brother to me, and I can talk to him about these issues I have, and he's never one to judge. I have Ed to hang out with and talk to. I look up to him because I see his family and what he's created with his life, and that inspires me to be better too. There's so many people, and that's why I talk about who I put myself around, because I have all these inspiring people that I want to be like, and even I want to be better than them, because that's very important to me. Right. I think right now the biggest person I look up to right now is definitely my dad, I'd say. So
Yeah, man.
Nice.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that because it is. You definitely feel when you become a dad, you feel the pressure of like being able to see your kid watch you and all the things that you do. So it makes you kind of, if you've never had that accountability as a man previously, having a kid, if you do it right, definitely puts that on you. You know, thank you for that. And then, yeah, because JD is definitely everybody else's like dad. He definitely gives off that dad vibe to the other kids, the other juniors, you know, even some of the adults. Because it's like, if you don't have somebody who is trying to push you outside of your comfort zone on a constant basis, and put you in those uncomfortable spots, like it's not just the fight for your life drills. It's not just the hour of straight sparring. It's like I do get to do this in a place where everybody loves me. Everybody wants me to do well. They want to push me to be, you know, 6-time, 7-time champ and all this other kind of stuff. And it's a safe environment. It's a safe pressure cooker, which I think is rare for a lot of folks. You know what I mean? To have a healthy circle to be around, which is why we have the Legion. You know what? Our community group where, you know, we can kind of impart those things to them, because, you know, me and Travis met in at another circle. It was kind of like before I got into doing this with him, I was saying that I had 2 power circles, because I had the group that I met him in, and I had you guys at the gym. So, you know, it was like that external and internal kind of thing. And I want to be able to pass that on to people, and not just people in our business and stuff like that, but definitely to my son. You know, find yourself people who you can be around that will not only make you uncomfortable, but they will show you that grace and love at the same time, because it's only to be the best version of you. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, man, you pushed me too. We had lots of conversations coming home from Iowa, where it was like, what is it that we have to do to not only help each other, but to be the best version of ourselves, and especially outside the gym, because like, yeah, learning how to choke each other out and all that stuff is fun, but but who are you going to be when you get to the outside? Are you going to be able to take, you know, more than just a lesson of how to throw something, or how to do a takedown? Like, what is it that you got from that person energetically, or even, you know, as something that can help you along the way? You know what I mean? I've collected so much stuff and people from different gyms that I've been at, where like I prefer to party with them or be friends with them or go on trips with them than, you know, like family sometimes. You know what I mean? Like being able to go to Mexico and Japan and Colombia and all these places, like with a team, that's where else are you gonna get that?